So as of this point, Nikki Haley has absolutely no business being in the Republican primaries for the presidential election. She has yet to win any state, and every major poll for all the upcoming states, she's getting pummeled by Donald Trump. Yet, she still remains, which is leaving many to speculate that there's a nefarious reason why. Something like it's in the works that Donald Trump is going to be disqualified from being able to be that candidate, and Nikki Haley is going to take that place. Is that truly in the works? I don't know. But it's hard to wrap my mind around the fact that this lady is still in the primaries. And with that said, she decided to go on Fox News. And of course, she's going to use that platform like many politicians do to spin things in her favor. But Harris Faulkner is not going to have it. Check it out.
We can't let Biden or Kamala Harris have another administration. And if you showed a lot of polls in the front, the one you should have showed was the Marquette poll that just came out, that shows that Trump and Biden are margin of error. We're going to once again be biting our nails, wondering if Trump can pull it off, and he can't. I defeat Joe Biden by 18 points in the Marquette poll. The thing is, we have to make sure that we can win. We want to do all these changes in our country. None of those changes matter if we can't beat Biden. And we've got to get that done. And that's why these primaries matter, is we can talk about who we like all day long. But at the end of the day, if who you like can't win, then we're in a whole ball of mess, and we cannot take 4 more years of Joe Biden.
How do you get there? This Saturday, the primary, how do you get there beyond this state when you haven't won a state yet? How do you win your first state?
I mean, it's amazing to say I haven't won a state yet. You've only had 3 states that have voted.
Well, it's not amazing.
We need to
South
go ahead and let
Carolina's winner take all. I mean, it's.
Yeah, but we need to let
she's going to pick up more delegates.
South Carolinians have not voted yet. South Carolinians have not voted yet.
Fair.
Look, if you and everybody else tells me to get out of this race,
I'm not telling you anything.
It would be the longest general election race in history. Keep in mind, 70% of Americans have said they don't want Trump or Biden. They are the most disliked politicians in America. 60% of Americans have said Donald Trump's too old and Joe Biden's too old to run for president. We have to win, and we need a new generational leader that can put in 8 years of hard work, day and night, making sure we get things done. No drama, no vendettas, just results for the American people. I'm determined to go to every single state and give people the right. If 70% don't want Trump or Biden, let them have another option. Let's let them vote. Let's let this play out. 10 days after South Carolina, 20 plus states and territories will vote. Let's let that happen.
Real quickly, and I'm going to ask my team for grace on this. Saturday, February 24th, the same day as your primary, is 2 years exactly to the date that the war started when Russia invaded Ukraine. I'm wondering, you know, with 48% of Americans in a recent poll saying that they thought we didn't need to spend more, that we've spent too much already. They wanted to know exactly where the dollars are going to Ukraine. With that kind of headwind, you have advocated for continued aid for Ukraine. Can you make that case, and can you convince people to see it your way?
Well, first of all, I think we should never govern by the polls. I think we need to tell people the hard truths. I blame Joe Biden because he has never once told the American people why they should care about Ukraine. And I think we have to look at the fact that I don't think we should give cash to any country, friend or enemy, because you can't follow it and you can't hold it accountable. But in this situation, the reason it matters so much, Harris, is because Putin has said once he takes Ukraine, Poland and the Baltics are next. Those are NATO countries. That immediately puts America at war. This is about preventing war. We should give them the equipment and ammunition they need to win. It is only 3.5% of our defense budget, and it saves us in the long run from having to send more resources or any of our men and women to do that. We don't want war. We've got to prevent it. And I'll tell you what was really dangerous is you had Donald Trump go and say that he would side with Putin over those NATO countries that aren't pulling their weight. And he even doubled down and said he would encourage Putin to invade those countries that aren't pulling their weight. We can't have that kind of language when he goes off script from a teleprompter, because you've got to look at the fact that Trump just sided with a thug that kills his political opponents. He just sided with a man who goes and arrests American journalists and holds them hostage. He sided with him over the allies who stood with us at 9/11.
Ambassador, I understand that you take it that way and that that's what you heard. And we'll have to see how all of this plays out. This president didn't have an invasion by Putin on his watch, the only one in recent presidents. So there is that to be said about it. I can't wait for you to debate him or somebody along the way to give Americans you say deserve that choice. And you're right about that. But we'll see. You got to win a state.
You got to win a state, Nikki Haley. Harris Faulkner here does this in such a cool, calm, and collected way, calling her to task on this nonsense. Nikki Haley hasn't won a single state yet, and it's very likely she won't win any states. Yet she's still in this thing like there's some possibility that she's going to become the candidate, even though nearly every piece of polling data, and I know we don't always want to trust the polls, especially if you're conservative, like we truly trust the polls, right? But there's zero chance for Nikki Haley. Is there going to be a push, an even greater push, to completely disqualify Donald Trump somehow? Is Nikki Haley being told, listen, stay in. Don't worry about the elections. Just stay in, okay? Could you imagine if in the back rooms somewhere that these conversations are being had? Nikki, trust us. Just stay in, okay? It's in the works. We're working on it, okay? We're going to get it done. He's not going to be the candidate. It's not going to be through the elections that's going to happen. Is it possible? Because it doesn't make any sense. She's still there. Will she drop out after the next set? Is she going to, she said, she was talking about, I think she said 10 days later that there's going to be 20 different states and territories. Will she drop out after she doesn't win a single one of those? I mean, I hope she does. If she doesn't drop out at that point, that's going to be the litmus test, y'all. Those of you that stick this long into the video, sometimes there's little nuggets of very good information that occur here. That's going to be the litmus test for us to know if something really fishy is up. If we get to that point where we have those 20 U.S. states and territories vote on the primaries, and we see not one of them vote for Nikki Haley, or maybe she gets one, I don't know. I haven't looked at all the different poll numbers, but it's not even going to be close, right? Donald Trump is going to be just killing her in the polls, right? Killing her in the election with the delegates. So let's just say she doesn't get any. Does she drop out at that point? And if she doesn't drop out at that point, there's got to be something bigger. I mean, I would call her on Fox News the day after. Harris Faulkner, get her back in. Nikki, what are you doing? You told us, and now none of them. So what? How is she going to spin that? Now, if she gets out of the election at that point, and then it's just Trump, then we can at least drop the idea that she's being talked to stay in for some other nefarious reasons. We can definitely drop that. Doesn't mean that they don't have other plans for Donald Trump. That's for darn sure. But we can at least drop that. But we're going to have to see how that goes in the future. What do you all think about this? Leave your comments below. I'll catch you in the next video.